This is a reading from The Rough Guide to Jazz, 100 Essential CDs, which I've read from before. And this one is Muggsy Spanier. And the CD in question is called The Great 16, Muggsy Spanier's Ragtime Band. And like always with these, I've listened to the music on YouTube, and it's all there, and it's very good. And this is quite a good write-up of the music, and I agree wholeheartedly with all of it. So here we have, it's on the RCA Victor in 1993, but it was recorded in 1939. And we've got Muggsy Spanier on cornet, with George Brunis on trombone, Rod Kless on clarinet, Ray McKenzie, Bernie Billings, Nick Calazza on tenor sax, and some of the tenor sax solos are quite standout and quite interesting. George Zak, John Busking on piano, Bob Casey on guitar, Pat Pattinson, Bob Casey on bass. He must have moved over. Marty Greenberg, Don Carter, and Al Sidell on drums. And the text says, as one of the youthful generation of trumpeters who sat at the feet of King Oliver and Louis Armstrong, or Louis Armstrong as I should call him. I keep forgetting from my early training. Louis Armstrong, learning their craft in 1920 Chicago, none was more impressed by Oliver than the youthful Muggsy Spanier, who picked up central elements from Oliver, the elusive art of playing straight lead in an ensemble, plus cunning use of muted effects, and carried them forward into his own celebrity career. Spanier, who also loved Tommy Ladnier, was principally a mid-register player, but almost no one could drive a Dixieland band down with an infallible on-the-beat lead that he had mastered, leaving all the right gaps for his fellow frontliners to fill. And that's so important. Often at jams, if there's a gap in the music and somebody fills it, then everybody jumps in and tries to do the same thing. So, but these recordings here are arrangements. They've been playing so long together and it's a band. And they may just be head arrangements, I don't know, but they're certainly arrangements. And his fat, open tone was often capped with plunger or cup mute, acquiring a unique turkey gobble effect at notes' ends that Oliver would have loved. Didn't notice that, I must admit. From spring 1939, Spanier organised a new band for a highly successful residency in Chicago's Hotel Sherman, which lasted for 6 months before a move to Nick's Club in Greenwich Village, New York. In July 1939, Spanier cut the first 16 78 RPM sides for RCA Victor's Bluebird label, and soon it was plain that every title was a classic. By the time the last 4 were recorded in December, a series was complete which would become known as Spanier's Great 16, and recognised him as possibly the greatest Dixieland jazz on record. Around him, Spanier organised a stylistically unified troupe, including trombonist George Brunis and the hugely talented clarinetist Rod Kless. Tenorists Ray McKenzie, Bernie Billings and Nick Kaiser successfully filled the tenor chair, and other minor changes occurred, including the replacement of a highly capable pianist, George Zak, for 12 of the 16 titles by the great Joe Pushkin. It was Pushkin who contributed the introduction to one of the 16th classics, Relaxing at Truro, after which he was credited as co-composer. Truro was the opening track on the original LP issue, a profound blues on which Spanier's preaching cornet opening is reverentially backed by choreographed long notes and harmonized concluding downward phrases after 12 bars. This illustrates one of the wonders of these titles, their inspired ensemble choreography, even if what appeared to be an ad-lib situations. Some years ago, RCA Bluebird issued a fascinating CD, see below, including alternative takes placed directly after the originals. These alternates, whose existence had long been questioned and which are virtually indistinguishable from the originals, which shows a great deal of choreography and organisation, demonstrated both the sophistication of this musical choreography and how gratifying it failed to affect the music's heat. No doubt the Spaniard band's regular nightly residence at the Sherman helped these fine points to materialise on the stand. Every track, as history quickly acknowledged, is a classic, but highly selected high spots include that Dada strain with tight ensemble and an inspired Kless solo and an inspired Kless. I wish I could shimmy like my sister Kate, Prunus's fine vocal, and a slam bang ensemble break at the end, and the near operatic band cadence which precedes a final a final reprise on At Sundown. Prunus sings wonderfully again on the lighter than air Diner, graced with its verse played by the leader out of tempo. As his reverent trombone interlude precedes Spanier's menacing plunger mute final on Lonesome Road is almost eerie. Throughout, Kless, outstanding on Eccentric, is heroic, but really all is wonder here. The unity of talent, purpose and inspiration on these sides make them brim with irresistible life, though all the old heroes are gone. And it is really a wonderful, wonderful music.